Hello and welcome to Life Under Lockdown. And once again, we are travelling and visiting and speaking to people across the Catholic world who are involved in many different projects. And someone in particular is involved in a very important work is the CEO of SPUC Scotland, John Deighan. So welcome, John.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
How's the lockdown life been treating you?
It's very interesting. I sometimes say to people, I feel it's the difference between being a sort of battery hen and a free range hen. I feel you're more, I've sort of got my office set up, but I feel as if I'm on Zoom calls and team calls and my mobile phone is going off all day. So it's actually quite busy. But it's also in another way nice because I've got all the kids here in the house. So the house is quite busy. And so I'm turning my phone off. So that
I know, right? In case one of your children call you, because I think you said 7 children you've got, John.
7. So the youngest is now 16, so they're all pretty, but they're all here. So it feels a bit like living in one of those American frat houses or a youth hostel. So they're all busy doing their things. Some of them are working. 2 of them are still at school, so school's been stopped, and one just finished their university exams yesterday, and 2 are in the middle of their university courses. So yeah, so it's been great to have them about, chat evenings, even at lunchtime if I take a break, they're all about. So yeah, I've enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And we've survived. We're lucky that there are quite a few of us. We've got a garden, we've got space for everyone. So we count ourselves lucky, but I know life's very different for people in other circumstances.
No, absolutely. You mentioned that some of your children have been through university. One of the things that SPUC are doing just now that many people might not be aware of is the Alma Mater project, which is a fantastic thing for university, females at university who need help. Can you maybe explain what exactly that is and what sort of numbers you've been dealing with so far?
Well, this arose really because we were doing some university work, and one issue that was raised by students themselves was they felt the atmosphere there is very much if a woman, a young girl gets pregnant, then abortion is the only solution. And really it was in a response to the calls from the students themselves that could we do something about that. So we established this thing called the Alma Mater Fund. A lot of your listeners will know Alma Mater usually is people refer to as the name of their university they attended. So we thought it was a nice play of the words. One of our staff, I think it was Margaret Akers, come up with that name. So it's a nice one, Alma Mater. And it really is to reach out to them and show them that actually there is a better solution. That's one of the messages to everyone, that there's always a better solution than abortion. So we found that we could put a bit of our resources into looking into information of help that's already available. So we've done that for all the universities in Scotland. But at the same time, we were also able to come up with some money ourselves to give them some funds to get through the hardest stages. A lot of them, they find it's a crisis situation in that they're panicking and they don't know what to do, and their friends all round about and are just saying, well, sure, everyone just has an abortion. So we provide some financial support to them, and that can be the crucial difference to make life that bit easier for them at such a difficult time.
Yeah, it's very important work. It's what's the kind of figures?
Well, we only started in September, so even for the time for that to get launched up and for people to become aware of it, and obviously for things to go wrong in some young girls' lives, and then for them to approach us, I think we've helped. There's maybe about eight or so in that time period. In fact, 2 of them just been approved in the last couple of weeks. We have a helpline that they can phone, so we actually have a woman who will speak to them, and then we have quite a rigorous process to make sure they get the support that they need, and also to make sure it's a bona fide situation, and then we make sure that they get the financial support, but also the moral support and a bit of encouragement for them. Yeah, we're hoping that can grow.
That's fantastic. It's non-stop work for SPUC. I mean, one of the things people might not be aware of just now, given the media is focusing 100% on the response and the updates on the virus developments, is that the British government actually have introduced something quite, sinister in the background, which is being pushed, in a sense, behind the headlines in a sense, is that this DIY home abortion scenario. Can you update us on what actually has happened and what's the scenario with that?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a guy, I think he's an American political advisor, Rahm Emanuel, once said that never let a cry waste, and I think that's exactly what the pro-abortion lobby are trying to do. So what they've done now is, under the guise of COVID problem that we're facing, they've said, well, this emergency justifies allowing women to have abortions completely at home. So I don't. There's been a push, especially in Scotland, have led the way in this, especially in the UK and in America. I think they're staggered at the level of chemical abortions we have. Chemical abortion sort of sounds nice to people. It's easier. They think, oh, I'll just take a pill and then think that cures my problem. That's the sort of mentality we have for medicine. Anyway, what the UK and the Scottish governments has done is say that women can phone the doctor, have a chat, and then be posted out abortion pills. So they do the whole process at home. So that came into effect 31st of March. We immediately looked at legal advice and whether we could take court action against them. I mean, we tried that before. Some of your listeners will be aware. We went through the courts to try and stop abortions at home at all, because we think that's outside the scope of the 1967 Abortion Act. However, the courts found against us. But in this case, I mean, there are really strong reasons that this shouldn't happen. First of all, there's no medical examination at all, and the pro-abortion supporters will say, "Oh, well, a doctor can assess what he needs to do over the phone." I don't know. I genuinely do not know how you do that. Typically, people may not know, a woman before an abortion will usually get a scan, and that scan will reveal, first of all, is she pregnant, then give you an idea of the gestation, then also identify things like ectopic pregnancy, even find out, is it twins that the woman's carrying? Things that have an impact on the woman herself, but also in the impact of taking powerful drugs for a home abortion. However, those concerns seem to be swept aside. Our legal advice was, well, when you're in this emergency situation, it's much more difficult to challenge the executive when they make these decisions that seem to us to be outside the framework of the law. So yeah, we're trying to raise awareness on that issue, John, just now.
I suppose the worry for us, and the wider public who know about it, is that this crisis will pass, and it will pass eventually, but this will remain in the statute books and it will remain law. So,
well, they put a statute limitation on it of 2 years. But yeah, I think if you keep practicing this for 2 years, and we find when it comes to abortion, normal rules just do not apply. For most of us, we think there is a law, you read what the law says, you comply with it. But when it comes to abortion, that doesn't seem to be the case. That you shouldn't be allowed to just have an abortion because you want one. That's not what the law says. But that's what's practiced. That's what most people think. If they want an abortion up to 24 weeks, well, I just ask for one. That's not the law, but that is the practice. If it were in an area of law, you would expect the forces of the law to hold you to account to that. But when it comes to abortion, I'm afraid we don't. So that's the culture we're facing.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think, though, this in some ways has kind of broken into certain mentalities of people who instinctively want to defend women. They might be pro-abortion in some sense, or in favour of it in some circumstances, but they feel deeply uncomfortable with this law, which deregulates, in a sense, the abortive act. So, how do you think we can make that conversation wider? How do we raise awareness for this, given we're in this deep crisis at the minute anyway?
Yeah, well, we've certainly expanded what we're doing on the internet, so that is a tool that we have just now. But even then, we find obstacles to doing that. But however, we generally find there ways to work around them. But we can get information out there. And what we're saying to people is, listen, you may have an ideological position on this, but at least hear us out. If we can genuinely explain to you that there might be trouble for a woman will you not listen to those issues and look at how you deal with them? For example, a huge issue for women getting abortions is coercion. So they're coerced, and that could be a violent partner that's insisting that they have an abortion even when they don't want to. Now, if someone is willing to sympathetically listen to you in a conversation, say, well, okay, you're telling me that someone may be coerced, and I'm only speaking to them over the phone. I don't get them to see them alone. I can't even see the circumstances they're in. Maybe you've got a point there. I think maybe reasonable people might listen to that. But of course, when it comes to the abortion sort of industry and campaigners, they will not allow any issue at all to be raised, or they will not engage in any conversation that might in any way limit or roll back the provision of abortion. So that's what we do. We're trying to mobilise the people who know that abortion is wrong, but also reach people in the middle and say, listen, we live in a society that's supposed to be led by the rule of law, informed by reason. So please let us engage in a conversation and use a reason. And if our arguments are bad, then fair enough. We're quite convinced that they're good arguments, and that they are in an area where a lot of pro-abortionists say they're pro-women. That's their first thing. We're pro-women as well. But if this is something that genuinely identifies a problem and a concern for women, then surely we have to look at the issue again. That's all we're saying to them. So we think that's reasonable. And the more people we make aware of it, maybe we can change the culture and attitudes around this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the good news stories coming out from SPUC in the last few weeks has been the situation in Northern Ireland. Is it correct to say that you had a positive news story from the fight there against the imposition of these laws?
Yeah, well, the thing about Northern Ireland is it's always a complicated area to work in. The situation there is that Westminster passed an act of the Parliament last July that allowed them to introduce quite an extensive abortion regime in Northern Ireland. However, it was so broad that they had to bring in regulations to detail exactly what that entailed. However, there is a process they have to follow to get these regulations basically to become the law of the land. And we've been in a situation where what happens is the government will come up with these regulations, they will lay them before Parliament, and Parliament has to consider them and vote on them within a 28-day period. If they don't do that, we're in a sort of circular process that all they have to do is retable them. So that's what's happened. So we were concerned that they were pushing regulations. Last week we got our supporters to write to MPs, and lo and behold, a vote on the regulations did not take place and they ran out of time. However, so that sounds a good news story. However, it's not as straightforward as that. All they simply do is they retable the regulations, so that has happened. So they table these regulations. They then have another 28 days for them to ratify them. So that's the process just now. However, they claim, the government's position is those regulations, as soon as they table them, they take effect. And it's only if they have a debate and they get rejected, they will be withdrawn from effect. So it's a difficult situation in Northern Ireland. We've put a lot of resources and time and effort into trying to mobilise the people of Northern Ireland and people in the UK to expose to them that this is being imposed from the UK in Northern Ireland, when most people in Northern Ireland, including their politicians, are against it. So that is a huge battle. And what we're finding is when you have a battle on abortion in one part of the UK, and even in the Republic of Ireland, the ramifications are not contained within that particular jurisdiction. It has an impact on attitudes beyond their borders.
Well, if people are watching this and they're rightly concerned by the issues that have been raised, I think absolutely we'll be sharing links for SPUC, and get on the SPUC Scotland page, get on the SPUC main UK page, and just get involved with them, especially at this time of crisis. Don't let as Rahm Emanuel said, as you quoted earlier on, John, this crisis is, don't waste it, in a sense. That's his view of it. And I think that's the biggest fear, that people will exploit this crisis. So absolutely get involved with SPUC. Well, thanks, John, for your time. I also realise you're a very busy man. You're still working away. Your office staff are still working away. You've got Zoom meetings to do. Yeah. So I'll let you go. But that's fantastic. It's really good to hear you and see you're doing very well as well.
Likewise, keep up your interviews. You're doing a good job getting around the country. It's fascinating to see how everyone is facing up to the different challenges. So good luck to you and your work that you're doing, and everyone who watches the fantastic films that you're putting out on social media.
Thanks very much, John. God bless.